Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessie. If you are new here, I do all kinds of lifestyle videos, budgeting videos, motherhood videos. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button if you like these videos, which today is going to be a budget recap. I do about 2 budgeting videos a month. Basically, I do my budget at the beginning of the month, showing you what I'm expecting. Well, I guess I do it technically at the end of the month prior. Does that make sense? To show you what I'm planning that month's budget to look like. And then I do a recap video once my budget is finalized, and I put that up for you guys to see exactly what we actually spent this month. So that's what I'm going to show you today. This is my June budget, which if you watched my June budget with me at the beginning of the month, you could have seen that I had no idea what June was gonna look like. If you're new here, we just moved back to the Midwest from Raleigh, North Carolina, which I'm still very sad about. We had a lot of expenses. It's much more expensive to live here. We live in the Chicago suburbs. It's just more expensive. Food's more expensive, rent is more expensive. And we had a lot of big stuff happen in June that we'll be dealing with in June and July. Without further ado, let's jump into my budget. I'm currently looking at it right now. Let me just get my budget up and we can look at what happened in June. Okay, here is my budget for June 2023. And yeah, so this month, let's see, Ben had some extra income come in. Basically about 3 or 4 times a year he gets cash grants from his job. So I don't understand how to explain it, but basically the company that he works for was bought out by another company, so they are paying out the grants that was like a part of his sign-on stuff, part of his salary portfolio or whatever it's called. So he gets a good chunk of money every few months that is just like in addition to his salary. I think that happens for like a year or 2. So that's just some extra money this month. I don't even budget it. I know when it's coming, but I'm currently not budgeting it. I think in the future I will. I wasn't sure how much this one was gonna be with like taxes and stuff like that. So it was about almost $800 more in his income than we were anticipating. Another business that he has that he is being paid out of is paid him a little bit early. So technically, this is very hard to explain, but it was paid a couple days early, so I had to keep it in this budget, but technically it would be in our July budget. So anyways, it's extra, but it's not really. It's money that'll be used in July that was already budgeted for. Rollover, we had almost $2,000 from May. Just so you guys know, usually with rollover, I'll put it to savings. It just depends on the month sometimes. So I'll pull it over to this budget at the beginning of the month, and then I'll either immediately put it in savings or I'll keep it in our budget if we need it. This month, I believe I put it in savings, which you'll see down below. And then we actually got our full security deposit back, which I wasn't anticipating. So we got $1,500 back from our previous apartment in our rental house in Raleigh. So that was nice as well. That I did keep in the budget just because, as you'll see, we went quite over budget this month, which I was anticipating. So we didn't use anything out of our savings at this point. So I kind of just kept the extra money in the account. So we were anticipating bringing in $8,327, and we actually brought in $13,500, so about $5,000 over budget, which is great. Next up, another big thing is, if you watched our June budget, you already know, but we didn't have to pay rent this month because we paid a big lump sum to our landlord when we signed the lease. So we had to pay first month and last month's rent when we signed our lease. So that was $5,000 because our rent is $2,500, which sucks, but it is what it is. That's what it'll be for the next year. I don't know if we'll end up staying here in this house, if we'll rent something else, if we'll buy, if we'll move. I have no idea. But as of right now, that's how much our rent will be. It's a lot. But we didn't have to pay it this month because we had already paid it. Renter's insurance, we actually didn't have to pay because some stuff got messed up and we're supposed to have a monthly payment, but the way it was set up, we have to pay it quarterly. So we're just trying to get that figured out. So it's not in there. Let's see, our pet insurance, my friends, we have been paying this pet insurance since February. It will not cover Cora's surgery, and it won't cover anything afterwards because it would be considered pre-existing. So I highly don't recommend Pets Best insurance. They have not covered one thing, and we've paid them like $500. So this isn't me. I don't like knocking down a business, but honestly, I have never been like so agitated and irritated with a company. But because they have this arbitrary rule apparently that within 6 months they won't pay for any ACL tears on a large dog. So because we were at 5 months or 4 months, they won't pay anything, and they won't pay anything afterwards, any of her rehab. If she has to get her other ACL done at some point, which a lot of dogs do, they won't pay for it because it's considered pre-existing. So anyways, Benjamin and I were very upset. They didn't pay the emergency vet bill either, so we just canceled their insurance. I would rather put the $100 in my savings every month or find a different insurance, but highly don't recommend them. And we had to pay more money because we moved, so they upped the amount that it was. They are paying some of that back though, so that's good. Other stuff was pretty much on par. A few things were like a little bit off. Apparently Kindle Unlimited went up a little bit, so we spent $358.21 on fixed expenses. Our debt was pretty much on par. We will start paying this personal loan back at some point. I'll explain this in our Q&A, which Ben and I are going to film today, I think. Thank you all for your questions, and if you ever want me to do a Q&A again, let me know. I love doing Q&As. But basically, short story long, I think our family has just been giving us a little bit of a grace period because we were moving across the country. We had a lot of bills coming in. Now Cora had this $5,000 surgery that's gonna wipe a good chunk of our savings. So I think they're just giving us a little time to like balance out, but we will be paying that back. That's not just gone, unfortunately. Yes, we spent $760.74 on debt. Then moving on to variable, as you can see, quite a bit of red. We did go over quite a bit, but let's go through it. So we went about $100 over on groceries in June. A big part of that is because we like got rid of all of our food when we moved to Raleigh, so we had to like restock normal stuff, you know, like sauces and some spices and just stuff like that. So yeah, I don't really know what we'll be spending. I will say food seems a little bit more expensive here. Trader Joe's seems about the same, but some of the other some of the other grocery places are, what are they called? Grocery stores are just a little bit more here that I've noticed. But quite honestly, Whole Foods and Trader Joe's have been fairly the same, so maybe we'll just use those. We went $25 over at Costco, and I did budget more this month on Costco because again, we had to like replenish stuff. We went about $37 over on restaurants and coffee shops. Again, these are much higher this month because I was anticipating we were going to spend more. I wouldn't normally budget $450 on restaurants, but as you can see, we just went to a lot more places. We paid for dinner for a couple of people, or we would pick up things for other people. So we actually didn't go that far over budget, which is good. A little bit under budget on medication and supplements, and then we did go quite a bit over on household. And to be honest, this isn't even counting a $200 Target trip that I will have to pay out of our July budget, which technically was a part of this one. So we spent technically almost $650 over budget, but in this budget you only see $450. Again, we had to buy bar stools and home goods stuff. Ben spent so much money on plants, but he's like super excited about it. So we have a little garden going, but I was not anticipating. I honestly would say we spent probably $300 to $350 on like gardening stuff. So yeah, and then we had to get like a bunch of other stuff. I think I have a video where I showed like a big haul video, so I'll link that if I can find that. Beauty, we went over. I got my nails done. I had to take money out of the ATM for my nails, so it was a little bit more than it should have been, and then I had to pay for Osea to get some of my skincare, and then we also made a beauty counter order. So those are all natural skin companies, and they're just more expensive, which sucks, but we needed to. I feel like we always have to, like, why is that with like makeup and skincare? I don't even buy that much stuff, but they always like need to be replenished at the same time, and it's always so expensive. Moving on, personal spending, we were over budget. I bought a Kindle book. We got some books for Ivy, underwear, pants. Like I got more, what are these called? Leggings. I bought a gift for my sister-in-law and a shirt for myself, pacifiers for Ivy. So just a little bit over budget there. About $50 over on doctors, and that's because I wasn't thinking about how much I would be spending. And that I paid $25 for co-pays for therapy, and I saw 2 different therapists, but I saw them twice, equals 100. So that is what that was for. Ivy's pediatrician appointments are covered by insurance currently, so we haven't had to pay for that. Utilities, we were under budget, but that's only because our utility bills haven't come out yet. I'm sure they'll be different next month, so I'm not really sure what that'll look like. But we did have to pay a little bit from Raleigh, and then I'm guessing from being here, our utilities will be more next month. Car, we spent $103, and that was on gas, tolls. We don't drive really. Both Ben and I work from home, so we don't drive a ton. And plus, we're not taking like rides. It's not super scenic here like it was in Raleigh, where we were riding around like looking at houses and nature and stuff. So we're not currently using as much gas, but gas is much more expensive, like $4, over $4, and it was under $3 in Raleigh. So very much more expensive here. Cora and Finn, technically under budget, but that is because we have not paid the emergency vet bill for Cora yet and her surgery, which technically came out in June, but we will be paying in July, and we will be pulling that from savings because it'll be just shy of $6,000, I believe. It just sucks. You live and you learn. She needed surgery. We weren't gonna not give it to her. She's young. Yeah, she needed to get it. So I'm grateful that we had the savings, because even a year ago, 2 years ago, we wouldn't have had that money, and we would have had to put it on credit, and I'm just grateful that we didn't have to do that. It does suck because we had almost hit our $10,000 goal in our savings, and now it's gonna be depleted. Not completely, but mostly. Between Cora and Finn in the last year, we've paid almost $10,000, no, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 in vet issues. So it's been fun. Dogs are expensive. Make sure that you're ready for that. And then miscellaneous was $300. Apparently something got messed up. I must have fixed it though. There was an Apple charge, and then we did end up having to pay $200 in taxes to North Carolina government that just came out extremely late. So we spent $4,803.08 in variable expenses. We were about $728 over budget, and I had budgeted fairly high, but I was guessing. So if you saw, again, if you saw the June budget, then you know. Finally, moving on to this area, it was our 4-year wedding anniversary, so we went out to dinner and went mini golfing, which was $108 for dinner and $23 for mini golfing. The food was not good, not worth it, so I would definitely not go back to Wildfire again, but we still had a good time. So it sucks when you like pay that much for food and then it's not great, but we were still just trying to be grateful that we had the opportunity to do so. So I put $2,377.43 into our savings. That was our rollover, and then I also put the $877.43 extra from the payment that I showed you up top. Moving on to down here, travel, we went about $358 over. So this this is all of our travel from us moving across the country. This was paying for the U-Haul, all of our gas between my car and the U-Haul. We did pay for movers as well once we got here. So the U-Haul was almost $1,000. And then these are just like a bunch of gas payments. We paid $250 to have movers. Basically, both my father and father-in-law like packed our U-Haul, and everybody was so exhausted. It was so hard with an infant that we decided to pay movers here to just move everything into the house, and it was worth the $250. It was an additional payment we weren't anticipating, but it was worth it. There's some like dinner that we paid, lunch and dinner for people during the move, and then tolls for the U-Haul. So we did go a little bit over budget, although not terrible. Honestly, to move halfway across the country and pay less than $2,000, I feel like was good. However, personally, if we ever move again, I hope that we're in a place that we can pay someone to fully move us, because it was not fun. But so with that, we spent $5,245 in miscellaneous, but most of that, as you can see, was just money going into savings. So we didn't really spend it, it just went into a different account. So overall, we spent $11,167.96, and we had $2,400 of rollover left over, and that part of that was the $877 that came in early, and then part of that is our security deposit that came in early. So, and then some of it was just like additional money that we had up here that didn't go into savings. That's still pretty dang good in my opinion. $2,400 moving over to July. Honestly, that means, hey, that's great. I didn't even think about this. About a little under half of what we have to pay for Cora's surgery and emergency vet will be paid in rollover. That's actually really great. That makes me feel good. So we won't be pulling as much out of savings as I was anticipating. Although July is going to be just a crazy month in general. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I'm a little bit rambly today. I feel like the June budget was just kind of all over the place because we were just trying to learn what was going on. I feel like July it'll be easier to see like what things are actually going to look like. But I feel like I say that every month, don't I? Do I say that every month? I think so. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this budgeting video. Again, if you like any of my content, make sure that you give it a thumbs up. It really, really, really helps my channel when you do that. And subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next video.